I can still remember my mom taking me to the election ballot box in 1980 to vote for one person that was on the ballot, and I'm with that person here this afternoon. Former President Carter, good to have you here.
Thank you, Mina.
And thank you so much. I can't tell you how much fun and joy it is to be here with you this afternoon. So
it's good to have you. Thank you
for sharing it with us. Well, I got to tell you, you don't waste any time in your new book, Faith, A Journey for All, which is debuting at number 7, which is pretty deep. Your 32nd one, by the way.
That's right.
I was like, wow, it's pretty cool. You say in the book, the issue of faith arises in almost every area of human existence.
That's right.
You go on to say, so it's important to understand its multiple meanings. So what does faith mean to you?
Well, faith has multiple meanings, as you just mentioned, and it has a deep religious meaning. In fact, I wrote about that when I had a book called Living Faith.
Yeah.
How faith lived inside me. Keeping faith means you keep faith with other people who have confidence in you. I wrote a book about that when I left the White House. So keeping faith and living faith are two different aspects. But we have faith in ourselves. We have faith in our parents. We have faith in the basic principles that guide us. Religious faith, of course, is the main thing. But we also have faith in freedom, faith in democracy, faith in the efficacy of education, faith in telling the truth, and so forth. And so we have faith in the equality of human beings. Most of us do. But of course, that's been a challenge down through history for America and for other countries, is just treating everybody equally. But I think that's one of the main challenges for the future. We have faith in the benefits of peace, faith in the benefits of human rights. So if we believe in any of those things, then we experience faith, whether we realize it or not.
Yeah. I tell you, I enjoyed reading the book. You were so personal in it. In fact, I couldn't put it down.
That's encouraging.
It's a phenomenal book. I have to ask you, because you talk about your life, basically.
Yes,
and the one question I've always wanted to ask is this one. How did your faith get you through losing the re-election?
Well, I became pretty quickly reconciled to that. One of the main reasons I got over it is because I had to convince my wife that everything was okay.
Right.
So just when I thought about all the arguments I could use, to strengthen her faith in the future, or confidence in the future, it helped me to convince myself.
Yeah.
So we've had an extraordinarily wonderful time since we left the White House. That wouldn't have been possible had I had another term in the White House. Mm-hmm. So I think with the work of the Carter Center and our work with Habitat for Humanity and so forth, and in our life with each other, our family growing up and becoming close to us, all those things would have been impossible to some degree had I had another term. I wanted another term. I think I could have done good with another term, but I got over it fairly quickly, and I haven't missed it since.
Man. You also say in the book as well, we need to have something unshakable in which to have faith. Do you think Americans are losing their faith?
I think Americans and people around the world have lost faith in a lot of things. We've lost faith in the equality of human beings in the eyes of God. And that's been one of the things that has shaken the world more recently with immigrants in almost all the nations, particularly in the European area. In this country, we've lost faith in the equality of, in the eyes of God between African Americans and white Americans.
Wow.
We've struggled with that over a period of two centuries now, and we're still struggling with it. So we have faith, I believe, in the integrity and the wisdom of our constitutional principles. They vary a little bit from time to time because of interpretation of Supreme Court justices, but they're basically intact. And we have faith in ourselves. We have faith in other human beings. So there are a lot of things where our faith is unshaken. We have faith in our parents. We have faith in our spouses. We have faith in people who have confidence in us, with whom we get along. And what Jesus teaches us is to have faith in people who are different from us and to love even our enemies as well as those with whom we have differences. So that's the future for the human race, I think, with the threat of nuclear weapons and that sort of thing. We just need to learn how to get along with each other and live in peace and not warfare with people with whom we have a difference of opinion.
And you consider yourself an evangelical.
I do.
And I do too as well. The word has taken a beating to a certain degree over the past couple of years. How can evangelicals do a better job of showing their faith to the world?
Well, evangelicals, to me, are the people that have faith in God and in Jesus Christ, and who want to spread that faith to other people through our human actions and through our words. And so that's what I consider to be an evangelical. But during the time I was president, as a matter of fact, we had a movement of the evangelicals, right-wing Christians toward the Republican Party. And so it's become a partisan divide. And there were some principles that divided us. One of the things that divided us was the inequality of men and women, because a lot of the evangelicals, particularly the Southern Baptist Convention, decided that women were not equal to men and could not serve God in the same way that a man could. I look on the writings of Paul, which express the opinion of Jesus Christ. There's no difference between a Jew and a Gentile in the eyes of God. There's no difference between a slave and a master. There's no difference between a man and a woman. So that's what I think. But struggling with that question of equality has divided our country for a long time, and it still is a division within Americans as well as on a global basis.
Do you think that question of equality we struggle with that as evangelicals too?
We do. I think we do. A lot of the basis for the evangelical strength is a remnants or carryover of the old distinction between black and white people in times of slavery. We changed the Constitution after the Civil War and did away with that with the 13th and 14th Amendments. We did the same thing, with the Civil Rights Movement. But we had a problem even with the right of women to vote in a democracy for a long time. And I asked my classes quite often, when did women in America get a right to vote? And many of them say with the 20th Amendment back in 1919. I said, no, that was when white women got a chance to vote. But African American women didn't get a chance to vote until the 1960s under Lyndon Johnson and so forth. So we still have progressive ways to make people equal. And until we learn how to live with each other in harmony and love and mutual respect and caring for one another, I don't think the human race is sure to survive, because we have a threat of nuclear war and environmental questions coming. So I think we're going to have to learn, as a next step in the human development or evolution or whatever you want to call it, to get along with each other and live in peace and harmony.
You got a great link in the book talking about women, which I appreciate that. What can the church do and church leaders do right now to help women reach their potential?
Well, one of the things that our own little church does, where you've been, we've had a woman pastor, we've had women deacons. My wife is a deacon now. We treat women completely as equals in our church. And we realize that women comprise a little bit more than half the total human race. And if we exclude them from serving God in an equal and respectful way, then we're cutting back on the strength of Christianity as well as the strength of our governments and so forth. So I hope that in the future we'll see women treated completely as equals to men, which has a long way still to go. I think it's the worst single violation of human rights on earth now is a violation of equality between men and women. And it's due to the misinterpretation, sometimes deliberate, by men in charge of the Holy Scriptures, and not only in Christianity with the Holy Bible, but also with the Quran and others. We've found, by the way, around the world that Muslims have been very receptive to our effort to promote equality between men and women.
Really? Wow.
And they have made tremendous strides and are very cooperative, much more so, I would say, than some of the Americans with whom we have a problem.
What advice do you have for church leaders today? Because we do have a unity problem. What advice would you give church leaders?
I would say to learn to live in harmony. You mentioned earlier the conservative and more liberal or progressive Christians and evangelicals, so-called, and those not. Those aligned with political parties and those not. I think we need to forgive each other and try to find ways to reach out to one another and to live in peace and harmony, and to remember that we're all saved by the grace of God through our faith in Jesus Christ. And I find that that's slowly but surely progressing within the Baptist faith.
So you think it is progressing?
I think it's progressing. I think we've come a long way since the 70s and 80s, when we were at each other's throats here, struggling about who would control the Southern Baptist Convention. So I think so. And I, for instance, I've been invited to speak at the Graduation Exercise for Liberty University. by Jerry Falwell Jr. His father was the one that started the moral majority, as you know, was the father of it. But I was kind of surprised to get the invitation. I was kind of surprised when the Baptist Friends advised me to accept it. But I'll be going there next month, and I'll be speaking to the student body. And I hope that my graduation speech will be another factor in bringing us back together.
Well, you're talking to someone who went to Liberty, so I'm excited.
Yeah, I know. You're a graduate now, aren't you? Very, very good. Well, you know,
that you're going to be
yeah,
there.
well, we've overcome those extreme personal differences that we had for a while, I think, and we're making progress to overcome it.
Last question here. A few years ago, you thought you were going to die.
I did. Yeah.
And you talk about in the book, and I did a lot of research on this as well. Hopefully not anytime soon. What do you want God to say to you when you get to heaven?
Well, I hope that God would say that I'm a sincere evangelical measured in His own standards.
Mm-hmm.
I hope He would say that I promoted peace because we worship the Prince of Peace. I hope that God would say that in my own life and in my public life as president and so forth, that I promoted basic human rights, that is, the equality among people and treating everybody fairly. And I hope I'll be able to thank God for the many blessings that He's given to me. When I thought I was going to die in a few weeks, I had 4 places in my brain that had cancer. I had part of my liver removed because I had cancer. I approached that prospect with a surprising degree of equanimity. I wasn't afraid. I was not praying that God would let me live longer. I was just mainly in a position, an attitude of thanksgiving for the many blessings that I had already received. And,
Thanksgiving.
yeah, thanksgiving. And I feel that as I get closer to the end of my life, I know that going on 94 years old, I'm approaching that time.
Hopefully not soon, because you can't tell.
I don't want to, I'm not looking forward to it, but I'm ready for it when it comes, and I'll approach that time with a great deal of more thanksgiving than I am entreaty for new blessings.
Wow. Well, I got to tell you, it's always a joy to be around you.
Well, I've enjoyed being with you again.
And,
Thank you for coming to our church and giving us one of the most wonderful sermons we've ever had there.
Well, I appreciate
Thank you for that.
And thank you so much for allowing us to come into the Carter Center, Carter Library. I've been here before, but never like this. So just thank you so much for your time, and I wish you the best of luck.
Well, you keep coming back and bring your wife and child.
I will.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.